Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to North Shore Live, Cooper's Corner. We're live this evening. It's August the 9th, 2017, and we have a wonderful program for you. We're so proud to have our guest in the studio with us this evening. I hope that you enjoy the program, that you are informed, you are educated, and that this is a part of history that we are living. Because Joe Giraldi was a young man in his late teens who was drafted in World War II and fought for our country and for others to make them free. And so this evening we have Joe Giraldi, World War II combat veteran, and he's going to tell about what happened in World War II. He's got wonderful stories to tell, and I just hope that everybody is getting an education out of this, because Joe is 94 years young, and he is part of a group that was filmed, and let me just hold this up. It's called My Own War, and this is a poster of that. And here's Joe. Whoop, there's Joe. And it's not been released as yet, but it's going for the Academy Awards. So very happy and very pleased. And God bless you, Joe, for coming on the program.
Okay.
God bless you. Okay. Where should we start? Oh, we should tell our viewers that this is a Waukegan resident from 1927 until today, still. Got to be something in the water in Waukegan, Joe. I'm telling you, it's wonderful, just wonderful. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. You said June of 43?
June of 43, June 3rd, I graduated from Waukegan Township High School. June 10th, I got my draft notice. By August 26th, I was put on active duty, sent to Camp Grant for assignment, got to Camp Grant, and they were going to assign me to the infantry. I told the guy that was talking to me that I didn't want to go to the infantry. I wanted to go to the Air Force. I wanted to be an aviation cadet. So he had to redo my papers, so I stayed there an extra week. I loved it because I could it was in Rockford, Illinois, so I could take the training, get home for 3 weekends. From Camp Grant, I went to basic training in Jefferson Barracks, Missouri, in St. Louis, and took a bunch of tests to become an aviation cadet and washed out. So they offered me a chance to become an aerial gunner, and I jumped at the chance.
You took it.
And was sent to Las Vegas, Nevada for gunnery school. Was there for about 6 weeks, got a furlough, was sent to Lincoln, Nebraska to be assigned to a combat crew with 9 other men who I would be with for the next year and a half. Then we were sent to Ardmore, Oklahoma to fly missions together and go through the procedure of combat. When we got through with our training in Ardmore, Oklahoma, we went to Kearney, Nebraska, where we were to pick up a brand new ship, brand new B-17 4-engine bomber, and ferry it across the Atlantic. My mother and girlfriend took the train ride with me to Kearney, Nebraska, and I told her, I said, Mom, you're not going to be able to see me. You're not going to be because I'm on a base that's probably top secret. But lo and behold, when I walked my airplane to take off, there my mother was with a 5-star general.
Wow.
The general called the crew over and made them introduce themselves and talk with me for a while. And she stayed there until I took off.
Wow, see?
The first stop was it was in New Hampshire. It was the last place that we was in the United States. We took off at 3:30 in the afternoon. from Grenier, New Hampshire, for the hop to Goose Bay, Labrador. We stayed one night at Goose Bay, Labrador, and then took the long hop across the North Atlantic to Reykjavik, Iceland. When we landed in Iceland, the first guy I see on the ground crew, is a friend of mine that I went to school with, that I just graduated with, and I played ball with. Years later, he became my dentist. But it was very nice to see somebody I knew. Yeah. But we talked late in the night, so the next morning we took off for the final flight to Europe, and we landed the plane in Nuts Corner, Ireland, Nuts Corner, Scotland. Okay. From there, the officers and men took a train to different training camps to get advanced training, and the enlisted men were sent on the up to northeast England, on the Wash, on the North Sea. And the war was going on then, and they told us, don't you venture too far out in the North Sea, because the fighters will come and get you. So the training was really intensified, and it was very, very useful for me. I would have never survived the war without that training. The training I had in the States was good, but this training was done by guys that had been there, and they knew what they were talking about.
Experience, yeah, absolutely.
They knew what they were talking about. After the Wash, we were assigned to the 401st Bomb Group, which was located in North Hampshire, England, in the town of Deanthorpe, Station 128. I became a member of the 8th Air Force, the 1st Air Division, the 94th Combat Wing, the 401st Bomb Group, 613th Squadron, and my pilot's name was Carson, so we were known as Carson's crew. So we were assigned to barracks, and we lived in Quonset huts. There was no plumbing in the Quonset huts. The plumbing was in another building, and we lived with another crew that was already flying missions. And every night we'd talk, and they would just fill my head with stories. About the flak and how tough it was, and it just made me shudder to think about it. So I flew my first mission on August 3rd to a marshalling yard in Strasbourg, Germany. Yeah. It was, they told us we had to be there at 10:15. A railroad train would be in there, and that we could do the most damage at 10:15. The Allies were still on the beaches at Normandy. They hadn't gotten started on their run across France. So I flew three missions in a row, and they scared me so much about the flak that I would wear my flak suit, which is about a 35-pound vest, armored vest like the police wear, right from takeoff. And I had a needle in the tail. I was flying as a tail gunner, and my legs would just be sore after the missions used to take anywhere from 9 to 10 to 11 hours. Oh. And I would not take off that flak suit till I landed.
Saved your life.
Yeah. Well, it was peace of mind.
Peace of mind.
It was peace of mind. But my fourth mission was sort of a memorable mission. The Allies were ready to break out of Normandy. General Bradley with the 1st and 3rd Army on the left flank had secured their position. General Hodges with the 4th and 7th Army and the French secured their position. But in the center, General Montgomery and the Canadians and the British troops had not been able to break through at Caen and St. Lo. They had called in P-47 dive bombers, but they couldn't get ordnance heavy enough to get the Germans busted out of their fortifications. So they called to the 7th Air Force, to the 2 engine bombers, and they came in, and they couldn't carry enough ordnance to get out. All they did was made rubble out of all the buildings there, and became a virtual fortress for the German
Germans,
troops.
yeah.
So they finally called the 8th Air Force in to bomb the target. And they told us that we would have to come in from the northwest because they would send up smoke signals to designate the front lines, and where the smoke blew over was the enemy lines.
But you'd have to come in low.
We came in at 13,000 feet.
Yeah,
That
low.
was very low for B-17s.
Yeah.
And they were supposed to lead us into the target with anti-aircraft fire at 10,000 feet. Well, all of a sudden, we get over the target, and there's so much smoke from the target, from the group that went in before us, that we couldn't see our target. So we had to go back around. So we make our next run and get to the IP, and so the IP is when you open your bomb bay doors, and
Yeah.
it's a 12 and 20-second run from the initial point to the main point of impact. So I was flying in the lead box. There's 3 boxes in the B-17, in the attack group. There's 12 planes in the high box, there's 12 planes in the lead box, and there's 12 planes in the low box. And they all bomb off the lead bombardier, who's in the number 1 position. So the number 1 plane takes a direct hit in the nose and kills the bombardier.
Oh.
And in the meantime, it exacts the salvo button, so the lead plane drops its load. Well, when he drops, the 11 planes behind him have to drop on him.
Oh.
It was fine, but the only problem was we were still over the British and Canadian lines, so we killed 25 Canadians, and 137 were wounded, and among those that was killed was a Canadian general. So every time I went to London, the guys that were in the Canadian Army just despised it.
I know, but it was friendly fire. You couldn't help that. I mean, that was totally.
They didn't understand that, and they were very angry at us. And the person that got shot down was from the 613th Squadron. And that was the first time out of the 4 missions I flew that anybody in my squadron that got shot down. And six men parachuted to safety in Allied territory, and they were picked up and brought back to Deanthorpe, and they were there before we got back. And the story they told was really something. The pilot said that when they got hit, he bailed out. He went back. They all bailed out of the
Plane.
bomb bays.
Yeah.
So the pilot went back and made sure the non-con be in the waist gunner, the tail gunner,
Everybody
the
was
radio operator,
out.
and the ball turret gunner were aware that they were bailing out.
Yeah.
And he saw all the radio operator, the waist gunner, and the tail gunner around the ball turret, and the ball turret had not been retracted, and the
they get
electricity
caught.
was out, so the ball turret gunner could not get out of the turret
Yeah.
until they cranked it back, the escape hatch back into the fuselage. So they were cranking away, and they were having trouble because on the gears that were pumping it up, where 2 teeth were shot out. So every time they get to that point, it dropped back, and they'd have to start over. And they told the pilot, we promised the ball turret gunner we'd stay with him and help him get out. So they were pumping away until they blew up in the ground. It was something that shook me up pretty well.
Wow.
My 6th mission was on Thursday. Was a Wednesday, January. I think it was August
Which do you
24th. No, that's right.
Are you sure?
Was
Okay.
was August 24th. in 2 days, I would be the first anniversary of me being in the service for 1 year, and I was already flying my 8th mission.
Oh, goodness.
We was awakened about 1:30 in the morning, and we're told we were going to a town in Leipzig called Schickeritz, was a suburb of Leipzig, Germany. Now, Leipzig, Germany is deep in southern Germany, deep down there. And it's one of the most heavily fortified targets in Germany. They had 400 fixed anti-aircraft guns.
Wow.
And there were so many industries in that area that they had AK guns loaded on box cars, flat cars, and they could run them on rail to wherever the towns were being attacked. So you might end up with 500-600 AK guns shooting flak at you. The target was a Ju-88 assembly factory. So we hit the IP for the first time, which were going to be 3 of them that day. We hit the target on our first run, and we get over the target, and there's a heavy fog over the target, so we can't see the target, so we can't drop our bombs, so we start around again. When we start around again, the flak is right in our back pocket. I see a whole shell slide by me on my right side and just above me and explode and break. I see a big red flash and it explodes, and big black puff of smoke, and then shrapnel dropped all over the fuselage like I was in a greenhouse and somebody threw pebbles on the top.
Broke the glass.
And it was on the glass. So now we're going to go around. We had to go around to get back to the IP and start the second bomb run. Pilot Carson yells over the intercom, "Watch out for fighters." That was the farthest thing from my mind. The flak was so heavy, I was trying to hide on a small armor plate and back in the tail position there. When we hit the IP the second time, we take a hit in the number 2 engine. You have to feather it. When you feather it, you put the thing so it doesn't rotate anymore. It locks it in place. So we go through the second time, and we're waiting for the lead bombardier to drop his bombs. He takes a hit in the bomb bays, and he can't open his bomb bay doors. So now we can't drop.
Why didn't they crank it open?
Because we are on the bomb run.
Ah.
We were on the bomb run. The bomb runs were only 12 or 20 seconds. So we're going to go around. We got one engine feather. When you have an engine feathered, you have to leave the formation because there's a chance that you'll blow up and you'll take a bunch of other ships with you.
Yeah.
So you have to get out of the formation, and we need the protection of the formation. So we just lag behind, but we stay close so that we get protection from the formation. And
how many planes were there
there's
in a formation?
36 planes in a group.
36.
12 for each group, for each box. There's 12 planes in the high box, there's 12 planes in the lead box, and there's 12 planes in the low box. And
36
they drop on the lead bombardier, the number 1 guy in each formation, they drop on him. So now we've been over the Leipzig, over Schickeritz twice, and the place was in shambles. So the deputy commander takes over because the guy that was leading the group, he had taken a hit in his bomb bays, and he was not going to be able to open his bomb bays to signal to drop on the next one. So he decides to go to the secondary target, which is Halberstadt, an advanced base for German fighter pilots. As we start to start the bomb run on Halberstadt, we're lagging behind and low. We take another hit in the number 4 engine, and the pilot can't feather it. It's spinning in the air, and causing vibration in the whole plane, and it's out of balance. Carson comes on the phone and says, I'm going to hang on in the back. I'm going to dive and try to shake this prop off. Takes a short dive. Everybody in the back, the centrifugal force
Sure.
throws you against
Yeah.
everything, and the prop doesn't come off. He gets level again. He says, I'm going to try once more, so hang on. Tries again, can't get it off. So then he blows the bailout alarm to get ready to bail out. Now I'm in the tail, so I take my shoes. You always bring your shoes on your mission, because you can't be walking. If you get shot down, you can't be walking around with fur-lined boots. So I take my shoes and tie them onto my harness, get my escape kit, stick it into my shirt so I won't lose it on the way down, hook on my chest pack parachute, and move to the escape hatch that the tail gunner's got in the back.
Did you have to bail out?
I look at that escape hatch. It looks small.
Ugh.
I says, well, am I going to get through
How are you
that?
going to fit?
And every time I looked at it, it got smaller and smaller and smaller.
Oh, my goodness.
So all of a sudden, Mo comes on the intercom. He says, Frank, let me try. It's on my side. So he tells everybody, hang on.
Here we
He's going
go.
to try again. So he dives down again, and he snaps the prop off.
Huh?
So we don't have to bail out. So
Bail
he
out.
sends us back to our positions. So now the navigator has to. We're very deep in southern Germany, deep down. And the navigator, the group is long gone, so the navigator is going to have to plot a course back to our base. He has the radio operator get a fix for him, and he plots by dead reckoning and gets us back to our base. And I don't know what else happened there.
How long did it take?
Oh,
From-
about now. Oh, so as we're leaving Germany, I see I was still flying the tail. I see a silhouette of a plane way off about 1,000 yards, and I tell the crew, unidentified aircraft coming from 6 o'clock low, and I'm watching. I don't know if it's a German plane or an American plane.
Okay.
And finally, I see the twin engines and the twin tail of a P-38.
Oh, that's
He
nice.
sidles up, gets right up against our wing, and escorts us all the way to the channel. In the action, when they was diving the plane to try to shake off the prop,
Yeah.
the ball turret gunner who had gotten out to get ready to bail out was thrown up against the ball turret and broke his ankle.
Ugh.
And he was going to be laid up for 6 months, and that meant that I would have to shift to
his
become-
position, yeah.
to take his position. The next mission was the seventh mission was the American troops had broke out of Normandy and were circling had the Germans trapped in the Fleece Gap, and the Germans were fleeing out of Germany, so out of France. So we had to bomb a bridge that there was an escape route with them that was over the Meuse River. I was in a high box. We missed the target completely. The only group that hit the target was the low group, but they destroyed the bridge, so they didn't use that bridge at all. My 8th mission was August 24th. Now that in 2 days, in August 26th, would be my first anniversary of being 1 year in the Army, and I was already flying my 8th mission. Everything went wrong from the get-go. We were supposed to be waking at 2:30. We never got waking until 3:30. Luckily, they left a 4x4 truck there to take us to Chow at the the mess hall in the 613 Squadron. We ate breakfast. The truck waited for us and took us right to the center of the field where the control tower was and where our equipment room was, where the parachute shop was, and where we stored our guns, and that's where the briefing room was.
Did you have to fold your own parachute?
No.
That was already.
You just turned it back to the
Bring
parachute
it in.
department
They do it.
after every mission, and
Okay.
they would they would repack it every two
Repack
missions.
it, yeah.
But anyway, briefing had already started when we got into the briefing room. The operation officer was going, "This is a very important target. The 8th Air Force has asked us to get this target. They've been there 3 nights in a row and have not been able to drop their bombs
And?
because of the darkness, and precision is paramount on this target. Winston Churchill has also asked us to go get this target. Now, you bombardiers, if you do not have the initial point in your crosshairs, do not drop your bombs. You toggleiers, if you do not drop immediately on the white flare on the lead plane, do not drop your bombs." The next town to the town that you're bombing, Weimar, Germany, which they make V1 and V2 rockets,
Oh,
and that are
rockets.
plummeting London.
England, yeah.
And Churchill wanted us
to
to bomb,
take them out, sure.
bomb out that factory. He says, the town next to Weimar is a town called Buchenwald. Now, Buchenwald is a labor camp. They have political prisoners there, and we don't want any bombs to fall on there. Didn't mean anything to me. In those days, they didn't call them concentration camps.
Yeah.
Nobody knew about them. They just called them labor camps.
Labor, yeah.
And I never knew how important it was going to be to me. So we get in our plane. We're assigned a brand spanking new B-17G. We drove up to it. The paint was still wet. The yellow paint showing the stripe for the 94th Combat Wing, the diamond with the black representing the 1st Air Division, and the yellow S depicting the 401st Bomb Group. You could still smell the paint.
Wet paint, yeah.
So we wait for the green flare to blow, to start our engines and get ready to take off. We were in the lead box, the number 9 position. There was only 3 more planes behind us, the 10, 11, and 12. The guy that flew in the 10th spot had 2 missions. The Lieutenant Cuda, the guy in the 11th position had flown 1 mission, Lieutenant Fish, and the guy that was flying in number 12 position, which was called Taylor and Charlie, who got all the hell, didn't have it, was on his first mission.
Oh, my.
So we're taxiing out of the Hart stand to get on the runway to take off. We were the 33rd plane to take off. As we're turning to get on the runway, the left wing catches on the nacelle in the prop of the plane that was the number 4 engine of the one moving up there, and causes major damage. The control tower tells us, go on through, get back to 613 Squadron, and pick up a ground spare. So we go on through, go to the Hart stand, and the Hart stand they sent us to was Homesick Angel. The plane was an old B-17E. It had 70 missions on it.
Oh.
And had 3 swastikas indicating it had shot down 3 German planes, and it still had the camouflage paint
Yeah.
from North Africa where it had flown a bunch of its missions. The new plane that we had the first plane had a brand new chin turret for the bombardier, had offset places in the waist, so the waist gunners weren't back to back, and it had a tail turret for the tail gun in the back. When we get to this Homesick Angel,
The old plane.
it had 2 one gun for the bombardier on one side of the nose, and another gun that stuck out of the other side of the nose for the navigator. The radio operator had a gun stuck out of the back
Yes.
that he could look out of the top, shoot out of the
turret.
top, and the waist guns were not separated, and the tail, there was no tail turret. The two tail guns were just sticking out of the tail.
It's an old plane. It
Yeah,
wasn't modern.
yeah,
Well,
it
then
was
modern.
B-17E.
Yeah.
So I was flying the ball turret that day because Lee was in the hospital, and we finally get to the target. No, we don't. What happened at briefing, they had routed us directly over Germany because they wanted the Luftwaffe to come up because they wanted to wrest air supremacy from the Germans. So they wanted us to go to fly as bait. So they rerouted us directly over Germany. So we were late getting taken off because we had to go pick up the extra plane. So we didn't go to formation. We flew right to the channel, and we met the group at the channel. And we slided the beacon. The beacon guided us into the number 9 hole, and we started our trek to the target. As soon as you hit the channel, you have to get in your position, and the navigator calls, "Bombardier, check the
Right.
guns."
Yeah, ready. Yeah.
So he has to check on this plane, he has to check his gun and check the navigator's gun. And he reports, oxygen okay, gun okay. He goes to the top turret, right gun okay, left gun okay, oxygen okay. And he goes everybody
one,
gets
yeah.
to me to the ball turret. I fire my right gun, it fires. I press the button on the left gun, nothing. It doesn't fire.
What happened?
It doesn't fire. So I tell the navigator, my left gun won't fire. I'll work on it, get back to me. So he checks with the tail gunner, everything's okay. And I lift the cover off the 50 caliber machine gun, lift the cover of the firing compartment, and I see that the bandolier of bullets is not being fed into the gun. It had slid back for some reason or other, or maybe the guy because we had no time to check the airplane
Before it took off, yeah.
When we took off, because we had to get airborne. So we're at altitude, we're about 20,000 feet, so at 20,000 feet, it's 30, 40 below zero. You can't
It's
take
cold.
off your gloves.
It's cold.
And I got those heavy gloves on, and there's not too much room between the side of the gun and the side of the ball turret. So I'm reaching and reaching, trying to get that bandolier to pull it back
Pull
up
it
into
through.
the firing
To feed
mechanism.
it, yeah.
And every time I get a hold of it, it slips out of my hand and drops further down. Finally, the navigator comes on. "Joe, how you doing with that gun?" I says, I can't get it up in there. He says, "Well, forget about it. We're going to hit the enemy coast in 10 seconds.
Wow.
Start your surveillance." So now at the briefing, they had routed us so that we would enter Germany at Germany. We wouldn't go through France or Belgium. We went right to Germany and started right to Germany. We hit the German coast and started a fake toward Hamburg, straightened out, started a fake toward Berlin, straightened out, and started a fake toward Hanover and straightened out, so they wouldn't know where we were going.
Yeah.
And then from Hanover, we went straight down to Weimar. So we're just getting past Berlin. We're starting, just had hit Berlin, and just we're moving on the next leg to attack, to get close to Hanover. And we started hitting heavy clouds, so we have to climb to get above them. Now, when we were at 20,000 feet, we had to get up to 24, 26 to get above the clouds. So you're trying to climb very fast, so the formation got spread out, and we were not a tight formation. And I hear the radio operator come over the intercom. Bomber Command reports fighters, bandits in the area. And now he no sooner gets it out of his mouth, and the top turret gunner tells 25, 30 ME-109s, bandits flying south at 3 o'clock high. They look like they don't see us. They look like they're flying by us. And the words were out of his mouth, and Bill Bucher, the bombardier, screams, "Get him, Joe, he's diving below us." Now, I knew what he was talking about, because while these conversations were going on, I couldn't get in. I couldn't interrupt a conversation because it would get garbled. I was watching the 3 planes behind me getting attacked. When the attack started, Lieutenant Cuda, who was the number 10 man, dived down, and I reported him shot down at briefing. The number 11 man, Fish, was holding his own. But the number 12 man and tailback, Lieutenant Kane, was on fire. All 4 engines were on fire, and I couldn't see anybody bailing out. So I can't report that, but I'm already at 6 o'clock, so all I got to do is turn the handles down and pick up that ME-109 that's diving down below us. I press the right gun, and short burst comes out. I get 20 bursts. I get 20 shells in them. I know I get 20 in them because there's 4. I see 4 tracers, and the way they make the bandoliers up, they make them in groups of 5: a regular 50 caliber, a magnesium 50 caliber, an incendiary 50 caliber, armor piercing 50 caliber, and a tracer. Every 5th bullet is a tracer. So I seen 4 tracers. I see them hit his cockpit, but I can't follow him down to see if I destroyed him or not. And if he's going down the ground, I have to swing back up and see if there's anybody else attacking. As I swing around, my back is to 9 o'clock, and I hear a terrific explosion. And my arm goes limp, my fingers go limp on the control handle, and I scream to high heaven. That's when I know the intercom's out, because nobody called on intercom. Is everything okay, Joe? Nobody called, so I knew the intercom's out. So I keep spinning around to the front, nothing. Swing back to 9 o'clock, nothing. And swing back to 6 o'clock. Here I see a silhouette of an ME-109 attacking
coming
me
right at you.
from 1,000 yard line. He's at 6 o'clock low.
Wow.
So in the ball turret, they have a television screen. And on the television screen, there's 2 vertical bars on the right and left-hand side that are controlled by the pedals. Once you get that enemy airplane wingspan inside them two bars, he's dead.
You've got them matched, okay.
So I have them lined up in the two vertical bars with the 2 pedals that are on the floor of the ball turret. And his wingspan, the 3 on each, he had 3 7.9 machine guns in each wing, looked like the wings were on fire, and the cannon, the 20 millimeter cannon that he had in the propeller was belching out white smoke as he shot out those 20 millimeter cannons. And I pressed the buttons, nothing. My right gun didn't work either. The left gun don't work. I'm frantic. I'm pushing the buttons, but I'm tracking them all the way. And at the same time, he's pouring lead in. He's pouring stuff into us. And he dives down. I track him down and watch him as he hits the landscape, tries to get lost in the landscape. In the training, they had taught us that when your gun don't fire, eject the shell. Eject the shell, because it's probably a short round. A short round is when they put the heads on the bullets. They tamp them too hard, so that when it goes in a firing chamber, the firing pin can't hit it, and they call it a short round, and you have to eject it. Well, in the ball turret, there's no room for ejection handles on the side. They have a series they have a steel cable attached to the mechanism that ejects it, to a pulley in the back, down to a pulley on the floor, to the front with a handle where you had a pull. So now I'm tracking them with my hand that I can hardly grasp the handle with. With the other one, I'm reaching down, pulling and tugging at 24,000 feet and 40 below zero. Nothing works well. And I'm tugging and I'm tugging. And I finally get the shell extracted. And here he comes again. I pick him up at 6 o'clock low. I don't see any tracers coming from the tail
From
gunner,
his-
the top turret gunner.
So what happened?
Well, I find out later that the tail gunner had a hole the size of a dinner plate in the back, so the wind was coming in so hard he had to get out of there.
Oh.
And the top turret gunner had his glass broken by the guy that hit me in the arm. Probably hit his top turret and broke the glass, so he couldn't go. He couldn't. It was too windy. in
Too
there.
windy,
So-
sure.
So nobody fired him the first time he went. So he was reckless. He came in. He wasn't taking any evasive action at all. I got him framed in my two vertical bars. Now I don't know if this gun's going to fire.
Oh,
I press the button. One short round. I see a wisp of smoke coming from his engine go over the top of his cockpit. And as he's coming by me, the smoke is getting thicker and thicker and thicker. And I'm tracking him as he goes down. I'm seeing if he's faking or
no,
if he's
it's
going
real, yeah.
if anybody bails out. I don't see nobody bail out. All of a sudden, I see a red flash, and it's just like somebody lighting a match where he went into the ground.
he
So
blew up.
I quickly get back up to spinning around. I go to 9 o'clock. I go to 6 o'clock. Nothing. Go to nothing at 3 o'clock. And I get back to 12 o'clock to the front of the plane. I see the bomb bays are open. The number 2 engine is feathered, and number 3 engine is feathered, and number 2 is leaking some kind of fluid.
Oil.
And all of a sudden, I start feeling oozy,
Oh,
and I look at my oxygen gauge, and I see my oxygen gauge is not
Low.
bouncing up and down, so that shows me that I'm not getting, that I'm losing pressure, that I have to get out of the turret. So I reach up with my right hand and open the hatch on the right side, and as hard as I can't get the left latch open. It seems like a lifetime before I got that latch
Oh.
open and had that escape hatch inside the fuselage. I swing it open, get out, take my portable oxygen tank is right attached to the frame of the ball turret, plug in my oxygen mask and take a deep breath, and I get my vision back, and I look up at my oxygen tank, which is the size of an expansion tank on a furnace,
Oh.
has a bullet hole in
Oh,
it.
my
so
God,
I see
that's why.
see the oxygen going out of
gone.
there, so I'm not going to be able to go back in the ball turret anymore. So I scan the situation. I see that the waist position has got a hole on the right side and a hole on the left side. And Quist, who was the waist gunner that day, was laying on the floor with his right leg, his right pant leg shattered. The pant leg was just shattered
yeah.
from
Being shot.
shrapnel.
Shrapnel.
And he gives me the okay sign that he's okay, and he points to the radio room. So I go into the radio room. They're plugged in. They tell me that the oxygen on the pilot side is out, but the oxygen and the electricity on the co-pilot side is okay. So there's Lou James laying over Bill Mathias, my radio operator. The blood all over the radio room.
Ugh.
A 20 millimeter shell came through and hit him in the back.
Oof.
And came out his stomach unexploded.
Oh, my God.
And he's James is laying over him, stuffing his scarf in there, trying to stop the blood. I kneel down beside him, give him my scarf, and he shoves it down, and he tells me, go get the first aid kit. When I was kneeling down, I kneel down on something, and I pick it up, and it's this 20 millimeter shell. It's unexploded 20 millimeter
Oh,
shell.
my.
So I'm going to take it up to the pilot to show him. And as I grabbed the door to go across the bomb bays, which were open, they hadn't closed, here comes Ray McGee, the top turret gunner.
You should just throw it out.
Well, I was going to give it to the pilot.
Oh, God.
But anyway, here comes the top turret gunner with 3 portable oxygen tanks.
For each one of you guys, yeah.
In case we needed them.
Yeah.
And I tell him, Matthias is going to in bad shape. You got to get the escape kit. He tells me, you and Quisk go man the waist guns, and I'll go get the escape kit. I mean the first aid kit. So he comes back with the first aid kit. He gives it to Lou James. I'm looking from the waist guns. I can see Lou reach into the pouch and get the syringe and take the morphine bottle, fill it with morphine, and shoots it into Bill's stomach, and gets sulfur and pours all kinds of sulfur, and tries to stop the bleeding with gauze. And Ray McGee comes and gets me. He says, Joe, come and help me crank up the bomb bays.
Yeah.
Now, we're at 24,000 feet. The bomb bays have a little, about 18-inch catwalk across. And it's about
You have to
20 feet, the bomb bays.
Don't you have to bend down and crank it?
Well, Ray McGee's 6'4".
Oh.
He can reach with his leg across and put it on the other side of the bomb bays and crank when it's in front of him. Me, I got a sore arm, and I'm not about to. I got to hold on to that portable tank, so I got only one hand. So I don't get too much leverage, but we finally get him the bomb bays closed. Now, Harris Lawless, the navigator, has got to get us back to base. We're deep just outside of Hanover. The group had gone on, and it was going on to the target that was left of them. The Germans had shot down 4 planes. So he has no radio operator to give him a fix, so he has to do it on dead reckoning. So he heads us to France so we can get out in occupied territory. So we finally get to the base, and we're there long before the group lands. So as we get to the base, we shoot out the red flare to let everybody know there's wounded aboard, and that starts a whole new system. 3 ambulances are coming out. The fire engines are coming out. The ground crew's coming out.
Oh, Joe, we've got pictures, and we don't have much time. Let's go to the pictures. Vic, you want to start now? What do we see there?
This is after the safe mission.
After the safe mission.
No,
Okay.
no, that's after my 13th mission.
Okay.
The reason that one was shown, the radio operator was a new operator, so they had to take a picture for him. This is after the 8th mission.
Okay.
There's one guy missing. Matthias is dead.
Oh, my.
This is graduating from Ardmore, Oklahoma. I'm on the far right in the back row.
The handsome one.
Yeah, the better looking.
The better looking guy. Okay.
This is the bullet that got my arm.
Wow.
If it had been 2 inches over more, it got me in the back.
Oh, God forbid.
That's me.
Look at that.
That was
Nice
that's
looking
a picture
guy.
that they sent out. Every time they send out a story about you, they send a picture to your
Nice
newspaper.
looking guy. Okay.
That's the top turret gunner where he was hit and the plexiglass is all shot.
Oh.
That's the pilot and the bombardier looking at the hole that killed Bill Mathias.
Oh, how terrible.
And this is
Look
the
at-
bombardier and the
Looking up at the-
navigator looking at the bullet holes in
Bullet
the
holes.
nose. That's my mother and father. That's the woman on the right is my father's mother, and that's my mother that by me.
Beautiful family.
That's my wife in the middle, my daughter Roseanne on the end, my daughter Vita in the middle, me in the back, and my son Michael on the side of his mother.
Beautiful.
That's me after my missions.
You're all put together there.
Yeah, I'm all done.
Yeah.
That's my first picture that I took when I came out of the Army, my first uniform from Camp Grant. That's me at Jefferson Barracks the first week I was there. We just stayed in little huts.
Yeah.
This is the last week I was at Jefferson Barracks, just before I went on furlough. This is my A2 jacket that has Carson's character and the woman that was on the nose of our plane, and shows how many missions I flew, 35. and
35 missions.
Has a swastika for shooting down
Wow.
a German plane.
Wow, that's incredible. That's incredible. I'm sitting with.
You cut me short, though.
Yeah, well, the program, we only have.
I told you I could talk.
Yeah, and I didn't want to interrupt at all. I'm engrossed in the stories. We have to make this part one. We're going to do a part two. But you left off that. Was that your 8th mission? You have a paper.
Yeah.
What other mission?
I flew 35 missions.
35.
Well, after this 8th mission, we had 2 bad missions in Rhodes. 4th, 6th, and 8th. We had 3 bad missions. So they sent us to a rest home.
A rest home.
They call them the plaque houses.
Yeah,
We was there-
R&R.
We was there for 6, 7 days.
Wow.
So when I came back from the rest home, we went to our barracks. The guys were on a mission. When they come back, they'd been to Ludwigshafen, and they were telling us how tough they had it. And I mean, I'm not interested in that anymore.
Yeah.
And well, that's a whole nother story. You got time to listen to that?
I don't think so. We've only got about 5 minutes left in the program,
Well,
but we're going to do a part 2. Please let me invite our viewing audience. Check this out on YouTube. There is our address. There it is on YouTube. Here we go. There you go. And you're going to see this story.
But
and
you lost the best part of it, the landing.
Well, we'll have to do part 2 with the landing. Can you do part 2 in fast order?
I got a lot more to tell.
Well, then we have
could
to
talk for hours.
Well, we will make time next time to have you for another hour on the program. We want to really thank Joe Giraldi for coming this evening, and he was kind enough to bring his grandson Joe and his great grandson Dominic. And I just need to tell this really fast story. Tell about Jack Benny. What happened?
Well, when I was 10 or 12 years old, Jack Benny had a premiere movie, had a movie premiere at the Genesee Theater in Waukegan, Illinois. George Washington slept here. I lived at 224 South Genesee Street, and Jack Benny, whose real name is Benny Kabuski, lived in that apartment where we lived in. So he stopped the motorcade and came upstairs to get in the door, and I wouldn't let him in because I didn't know who he was.
At 10 or 12 years old, how would you know Jack Benny? But yeah, Jack Benny, isn't there?
They had his premiere at the Waukegan Genesee
Theater. Look at that, yeah. Oh, he was very good to Waukegan.
They got a statue of him on the corner of Madison and Genesee Street.
Yeah, he was very
He
financially.
always mentioned Waukegan in his
Always,
program, yeah.
wherever he was, he'd mention Waukegan, Illinois.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing that on TV. Well, we really don't have much time left, but you will come back again, please. Do I?
All you gotta do is call.
Believe me that I will. I mean, you've got, I'm just up in the air with this because I want to hear about your landing. We have to pick it up at the landing point. And this is
You're
the
gonna lose
eighth,
the impact of it now.
but this was, oh, no, we'll never lose that. But this is the eighth mission. We were talking about the eighth mission?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do that. Whatever happened, how did you finally find or create the finish for the left hand for the machine gun? How did you do that? Are they,
I told you, I took it out, ejected the bullet.
No, you said the right worked, but the left didn't.
The left never did work.
Never did work.
I couldn't get the bandolier. I couldn't get the
Get it up for the feed, to
get
feed
it up
it
and
in.
feed it into the gun.
Yeah.
But the punchline of the movie, of the eighth mission, is that the unexploded, when we landed,
Yeah.
there was 3 unexploded 20 millimeter shells in the right wing and 3 unexploded 20 millimeter shells in the left wing. And there were 3 that went through the waist, and only one of them stayed in because it went through Matthias's stomach.
Oh. Terrible.
Somebody, when we gave the crew member of the ship showed us that next day when we had that
Yeah.
picture, showed us the shells, and they were taken to Bomber Command,
Yeah.
and they told us not to say anything about, and they didn't publicize it at all
Oh.
because some poor somebody in one of those
Labor.
concentration camps
Made it so
risked
it
his-
wouldn't explode.
risked his life.
Yeah.
Some boy, girl, or man
yeah.
risked his life to not put powder in the firing pin. So that's why I'm alive today.
Oh, thank God for that. Thank God for that. Yeah. There's somebody up there and somebody below who was watching over you, Joe, watching over you and the crew, Well, I'm going to have to take a cup of coffee or a drink of water after this. This is, my mouth is so dry, I don't know what to say. I hope that you enjoyed listening to Joe and his experiences as a tail gunner. Balls, okay. And we'll see you next week on North Shore Live, Cooper's Corner. And we want to thank Joe for coming. And he's going to be back for part 2. Hope you will stay tuned when we do play it. Have a pleasant evening and a very safe week. See you next week on North Shore Live, Cooper's Corner. Good evening. I did a good